Hello, thank you for checking out A1 Math, and today we're looking at creating systems of linear equations from a word problem. So let's begin. All right, so what we want to do today is take a look at a word problem and create a system of equations, create two equations, and solve for that system. So let's take a look at this first example here. It says Pierre is an artist. Last week he bought 5 brushes and 6 tubes of paint for $43. This week he bought 12 tubes of paint and 4 brushes for $56. What is the cost of one brush and what is the cost of one tube of paint? So what I'm going to do is make an equation first from this part, okay? 5 brushes, 6 tubes, $43. And then make another equation for this part, 12 tubes of paint and 4 brushes for $56, and set them equal to each other. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the first equation, which is 5 brushes. So 5 times the number of brushes plus 6 times the number of tubes is equal to 43. And then I'm going to do 4 times the number of brushes plus 12 times the number of tubes is equal to 56. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and solve for either B or T. And what I'm going to do is use elimination method. So what I'm going to do is multiply uh, both equations here. I'm going to multiply the top equation by 4 and the bottom equation by 5. And you have to make one of them negative. That way we can have the same number with different signs. So I'm going to make the bottom one negative here. Now I'm going to multiply across and I'm going to get 20b plus 24t is equal to 172. Now here I'm going to have negative 20b minus 60t is equal to negative 280. Now I'm going to go ahead and add vertically. The 20b's eliminate, and that's going to leave me with negative 36t is equal to negative 108. And now I'm just going to divide by negative 36. Okay, and that's going to give me t is equal to 3. So this is the amount each tube of paint costs. So the tubes of paint cost $3. Now all I gotta do is figure out how much the brushes cost. Well, all I gotta do is plug it into my equation here and then solve. So I'm gonna write that over here. And I'll have 5b. And you could pick either equation here. 5b plus 6 times the $3 is equal to 43. Now you have 5b plus 18 is equal to 43. And then subtract 18 on both sides. Now just divide by 5, and the brushes cost $5. So each paintbrush costs $5. Now you can pause the video here and see if you can figure out what happens when Pierre goes to a different store and how much it costs. So what you should get for this one is your tubes should be $2 each, and the brushes are $4.50 each. So it's a little bit of a savings there. So I went ahead and multiplied my system of equations here. Once I set them up, I multiplied the top by -6, the bottom by 4, got -24b to cancel out, then solve for t. So my tubes was $2. Then I plugged the $2 in to this top equation over. So on this top equation over here, I've got 4b 17. I actually wrote it again over here, and then plugged in the 2, and then solved, and got $4.50. Okay, so now let's take a look at an example where it's going to be substitution as opposed to elimination. Okay, so in this problem, what we want to do is determine if the cost of the two services would be the same amount, at what price will that be? So we want to know when they're equal. So first we got to set up the equations. And once we do that, we're going to set them equal via substitution and then solve for one and plug it back in to find the other. Okay, so it says one cable television provider has a $60 setup fee and charges $80 per month, and the other cable provider has a $160 equipment fee and charges $70 per month. So they both have initial fees. So the first equation here, which is a $60 setup fee and $80 a month, so I'm gonna write that out. So it's gonna be, and I'm just gonna use y. You can use function notation. You can say f of x, g of x. I'm just gonna use y and say y is equal to the $60 at the beginning plus the $80 for every month. I'm gonna put X in there. All right. Um, Now next, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look here. In fact, let me go back. Let me change this to the time. Okay. And Y is gonna be the total amount, the cost, but the T is gonna be the number of months. So T for time. Okay. So for every month is times 80. So now in the next equation here, we're going to have another provider that has a $60 additional fee and then $70 per month. So that's going to be y is equal to the 160 at the beginning plus the $70 for every month. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is take both of these equations and set them equal to each other. So I get 60 plus 80t is equal to 160 plus 70t. And really what I'm doing is and since they both solve for y, it's kind of hard to see the substitution, but I'm substituting this y in and placing it here, or vice versa. So I'm just going to go ahead and solve. So I'm going to subtract 60 on both sides. That's going to give me 80t is equal to 100 plus 70t. Now I'm going to subtract 70 on both sides. And I get 10t is equal to 100. Now I'm going to write that up here. 10t is equal to 100. And I'm going to divide by 10. So t, the number of months, is equal to 10. So at 10 months, that's when they'll both be charging the exact same amount as far as the total amount spent. But the question is, how much would that be? Well, how much would it be in 10 months? So all you got to do next is just plug that into one of your equations. So I'm going to take the first one here, y is equal to 60 plus 80t, and get the total amount. So 60 plus 80 times t, which is 10, and y is equal to 60 plus 800, and y is equal to 860. So at 10 months, they'll both charge $860. Okay, so take a look at the next example and see if you can solve for that one. Okay, so the answer on this one is you get for 3 months of service, the total cost will be 136 yards, $136 per yard. So it's going to be 3 and 136. Okay, now that is creating a system of linear equations using word problems. I want to thank you for checking out A1 Math. Have a nice day.